I wanted to show some people. I've been always telling you about walking onions, Egyptian walking onions, and how to harvest the little clusters at the top. I mean, like this, you just break them off the whole little cluster. Oh, it's hot out here, y'all. And then, I don't know if you can see this, but there's a whole bunch of clusters in there. Just like this one. See these little clusters? That's what comes up to the top of this right here. And it bursts open into clusters, just like this. And it's little onions. See the little onion bulbs in there? And what you do is you break those onion bulbs apart. There's a little onion bulb. It doesn't have a very long sprout on it, but you can plant that. And here's one. And if the sprout gets too long like that, just cut it off. Wish I could. It's not going to let me enlarge it. But I've got a bunch of clusters here that I've already broken off. And see, like the two I just had, I broke that stem off the top of it. And really all you need to plant them is a stick. Because you're not going to put them down deep. You're just barely going to get that bulb in the dirt. Let the rest of it stick up. And I pulled those garlic chives out of here. And there's one right there. Because I was getting too many of them. And I still got some down in here. Can't believe it. I really didn't want them in there. I harvested a bunch of them. They're in the house. But I really didn't want them in here with my onions. See? I mean, I can pull them up later, but I'd rather have them up now. And you can harvest the little bulbs from the these little chives. They're kind of like a wild onion almost. See that? That's a little onion bulb. There's an onion bulb. I've got a whole tray of them in the house that I'm saving. And I'm just going to cook them in my dishes. There's a snail. I'm just going to put them in my dishes just like I do my onions. But yeah, I wanted this tote here for my walking onions. Not my garlic, but I mean, it can come up with them. It doesn't matter. But look at those bulbs. They're the garlic chives. And I just may leave them. I may leave some of them in there. They can come up right along with my Egyptian walking onions. But these things are so tiny with a little sprout right at the top. And all you need is a stick to make a little hole and just barely put that little onion down in there. Like I said, if you get some like this with the sprouts that are way too long, it'll just pull the onion over, just break them off. So there's your little plant right there. This had three in that cluster. And just push the little bulb under the dirt. And I prefer to plant my onions like this in a pot or a tote or a bucket for several reasons. One of them is to keep the grass out of them. I can keep them watered so much better. But I had so much grass coming up in here because this toad had been here for a while. And those garlic chives had been in there for a while. So I'm going to have garlic chives come up regardless. And I just pulled that up thinking it was a weed that I needed to get rid of. Yeah, see how curly Q this one is? Just break it off. Plant the bulb with the little sprout on the top. I find they're too delicate to try to put in the ground to start them. I mean, I just prefer to grow them in a pot. I mean, you might like to grow them in the ground. That's up to you. But let me get the camera a little bit closer so you can get a better view of it. I don't know if it's going to work. Let's see, maybe if I turn it this way. Because I really wanted to get you to get an idea of what I'm doing. That might be a little better. Yeah, and my tote this tote's been out here for a while. And it's busting all up. But I'll get a season out of it for Well, everybody, my camera cut off with me and I didn't realize it, but I went ahead and got my whole tote full of my Egyptian walking onions. And I wanted to show you too here, if you have these in the ground, I dropped one or two of them. Yeah, if you have these in the ground, they will fall over. They will eventually fall over. They'll hit the ground and they'll root right in the ground and start you more plants, and you don't even have to replant them. But the only problem with that is you're going to have a lot of grass in your your rows, and you're going to have to keep the grass out of your onions, and that's going to be hard to do. So I prefer to plant them in a pot like this, and it's easier for me to keep the little sprigs of grass and other weeds that come up in them out. But, because anytime I come through here and I harvest onions or I water them, I can see the little grass spurts or sprouts coming up or whatever else is coming up in there, and I can pull them out. Planting them in the ground, it makes it a lot harder to do that. See, just like pulling this thing out. That don't belong in there. I can keep them pretty well cleaned out this way. Yeah, here's one of the clusters I broke off the top. And this one still has two onion plants right there. So all you do is put your just push your little bulb down in the dirt. I mean, you can do it with your fingers. I hate doing it with my fingers unless I got my gloves on. But you can put it just like that, covered up with dirt. Push dirt around it, and it's planted just that easy. That's all there is to planting Egyptian walking onions. And like I said, if you plant them the first year, I think this is the first year this tub of walking onions has been here. And look how tall they've gotten. And they've got many clusters at the top that still need to come off. I just break them off like that. But there they are. There's 3 or 4 right there. I got 3 good ones that I'm going to stick in this pot or in the tote. But that's all there is to it, folks. Y'all, I was trying to put this video together outside and my camera turned off on me and I didn't know it. So I lost half the video. But I was trying to show you how to plant Egyptian walking onions. They're real tiny little bulbs that you get off the top of the plants, like I'm trying to show you in the video. So I recommend really that you plant them in totes or big buckets or pots, that type of thing, not in the ground. I mean, I would think in the ground you would get so much grass growing in with them that it'd be hard to distinguish the grass from the onions, but that's up to you. I just always have grown them in the pots and totes, so that's where I'm going to continue growing them. But I also was trying to tell you too about your squash, zucchini, melons, and all this other stuff. It's May. You can still plant in the month of May. No problem. I mean, bush beans, like the dragon ton beans you can plant now, they love the heat, so they grow really well. And I think that's one of the beans I've got growing out there. It's got kind of like a dark streak in the pod itself and the bean. Squash is another. Zucchini, yellow squash, you can plant right now from seed. And I've got a few that I've already replanted outside. And when these squash plants that I'm harvesting from, if they die, then I'm going to replant in the place of them. Melons like cantaloupe, watermelon, any of that stuff you can plant right now and it will produce for you. Cucumbers is another good one. Ground cherries is another one. Malabar spinach. If you plant Malabar spinach, it's very invasive. I would recommend you putting it in a pot of some type to grow it, and make sure you've got a trellis, because if you don't, it's going to fall over, it's going to grow on the ground, it's going to root, and it'll be invasive. You'll never get rid of it. But Malabar spinach, when it's grown right, produces really pretty big leaves that you can add to a salad, add to stir fry. You can put them in a green drink, any of that thing, and it's really a good powerhouse of nutrition for you. Swiss chard you can plant right now. Sunflowers, yes, sunflowers. Even though I got a ton of them growing in my yard right now, I could plant more if I wanted. Especially if you like the seeds, from them. You like to harvest the seeds. If you can get to them before the birds do. Usually the birds get all the seeds before I know they're ready to harvest. Amaranth is another one that's kind of like a spinach, a Chinese spinach. It's a powerhouse when it comes to nutrients, all the good stuff for you. You put it in a green drink, eat it like you would spinach. It's really good. Borage is another that's good. You can not only harvest that for the flowers and the borage itself, but it's a really good insect deterrent for your other plants. It'll attract the bugs to the borage instead of on your other plants. It'll keep them away from your regular plants. Basil is another good thing to plant right now. It's a good companion plant if you plant it close to any other plants like basil, or you're planting basil close to it as a companion plant. But if you plant it close to tomatoes, any of your other vegetables that you grow, it for somehow gives them a better flavor. I don't know how it does that, but it will. And I've been out in the hot sun. I've been sweating like crazy. I have no makeup on whatsoever. I mean, you can't wear makeup when you're outside working in a garden or in your yard in Texas. It's too blasted hot. But anyway, I had sent some of these Egyptian walking onions to Tamara Aimling, and I'm hoping, she said that she had fixed a place in the ground, but I mean, she can plant them however she wants. She may have already done it, but I prefer to plant them in pots or totes or buckets because I can keep grass out of them very easily if I plant them in boats, totes, and buckets rather than in the ground. Planting stuff in the ground, I have it, everything to me gets overgrown with grass, and I can't control it that way. Not to mention it's too dry here to grow anything. I mean, you got to keep it watered. Putting it in a pot or a tote with a water reservoir on the bottom is the best way to go. Well, I don't want to bore you with any more details, so I'm going to let you go. I just hope some of these tips and anything that I showed you, what I did get videoed of the Egyptian walking onions being transplanted or planted from the little bulbs at the top of the plant, will do you some good. And I'll see you on the next one. Love y'all. Bye now.